Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extreme...
Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
Okie dokie, here we go on a Friday. Hi, everybody. Terry Norvelle sitting right here where I'm supposed to be on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Well, that's inside BRIX in JAX Beach. Man, the place is rocking and rolling. Happy hour now is officially underway here at BRIX. Great beer and drink specials all the time, but happy hour, they kick it up a notch. You won't be disappointed if you get down to BRIX. Today, tomorrow, all weekend, this place will be rocking and rolling. And, of course, it's Friday. That means it is their $12.99, their very famous $12.99 ribeye special. $12.99 for the ribeye, and that includes two sides. You can't beat that anywhere. You will enjoy it. You'll love it. Get on down to BRIX JAX Beach. A lot to cover today. We hope to hear from Patrick Young, and we think we're going to hear from Brent Beard. We do on Fridays most of the time. Brent normally checks in around 5 o'clock, so we'll see how everything plays. But we will head forward and blaze through a lot of topics, diverse show today, some college basketball, NFL playoffs, some unsettling news potentially coming out of Gainesville with the basketball program again. We'll talk about the Torian Green situation. If you haven't heard, we'll get into that. Take a look at the Saturday SEC basketball slate. Again, boy, in the SEC, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday game slots. Every single day that the SEC tips off basketball games, you're going to have ranked teams going at it. We'll take a look at the ranked teams and then pay close attention to Florida trying to get back on the winning track tomorrow at home as they host the Texas Longhorns. Maybe working some sports history today as we go. Let's kick back and first and foremost, I want to announce that we introduced you to one of our newer members on the show, Ben Dobbins. And Ben, I don't know if you can fire yourself up, but Ben has been training as one of our producers to join the team. And I do believe Ben is flying solo today in the captain's chair. Young Ben, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Am I correct? Your training wheels are off. You're flying solo today.
Yeah, all alone
today.
Feeling?
How you feeling?
Pretty
Feeling
good.
loose?
Yeah.
Did you stretch before the game?
No. That's probably why I'm a little sore, you know.
Did you carb load last night knowing you were going to go solo today? You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. You're in the captain's chair, all alone. How about that? So Zach pushed you out of the nest, and you're flapping those wings right now, huh?
Yep, trying to figure it out.
Hey, we're doing good. We're on and we're blasting and we're everybody's seeing us, so we're you're doing good. So far. Okay, that's an A for you so far. All right, Ben, we'll cruise along. I may holler at you a couple of other times as we go here for 2 hours, 4 to 6, the Young and Norvelle show. Hey, feel free, whatever platform you are consuming our show on, if you've got a chat section, I'd love to hear you read some of your comments on some of the stuff we're talking about. And that's always fun as well. Topic number one, out of Gainesville with the Gator men's basketball program. News broke, I guess, was it last night or early this morning? I think it was last night. I saw it last night breaking. Gator assistant basketball coach Torian Green, who is in the Gator Basketball Hall of Fame. He was, of course, the starting point guard for both Florida basketball national championship teams, a integral part on that wonderful team. Torian Green, Lee Humphrey, Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, and Al Horford. Who could forget that team with a bunch of good reserves? over that 2-year period where Florida went back-to-back national championships. A staff member down at the University of Florida, female staff member, has leveled accusations that she was to a degree sexually assaulted by Torian Green several months ago. It got reported in December. Kind of the accuser said that the impetus for her coming out with it was, and some of you folks may not know, Todd Golden, the head basketball coach at Florida, is currently under a Title IX sexual assault accusation investigation. Florida has kind of come out and said they have found nothing to substantiate with their independent investigation on the head coach. But this is a new situation. Torian Green, the young lady, said that they were in a room together, kind of a work room at the University of Florida, not off campus, and had a meeting. It was the first time they'd ever met, according to her, they had ever met alone. And according to her assault accusations, he tried to maybe kissed her and attempted to put his hands down her pants. Now, this is a she said, he said, she said kind of thing. I don't think Torian's really commented yet. Florida, Todd Golden and the Florida basketball program, they have come out and said, yes, Torian will still be an acting member of the coaching staff, including tomorrow's game. So, not flattering at all news to come out around the Florida basketball program. And no matter which direction these investigations go, exonerated or not, you wonder, will it start having an effect on the basketball team, which is not of importance when you really break this down. But, I mean, boy, this is a lot. This is a lot to pile on a young basketball team. So, not a great situation with regard to Florida basketball, with a couple of different accusations, one against Todd Golden, the head coach, and one against one of his leading assistants. Torian Green's been an assistant now. He's working his way up the ladder. I would imagine his aspirations are to become a head basketball coach at the college level. But disturbing. Patrick has texted me. Patrick will be on with us shortly, he said. Certainly, we definitely want to get Patrick's thoughts on this situation. So we'll keep that topic on the table today as we go, and may even kick it around with Brent Beard later if Brent joins us in the second hour. In NFL playoffs, man, it's getting serious now. This is not that the Super Wildcard round is not serious, but you knock out 6 teams, and now you're down to the Elite 8. You've got 8 left, 8 standing in the NFL. You probably know this, but let me go over the schedule. And if you are looking to get away and watch some NFL playoff ball, Saturday and or Sunday cannot go wrong. Take my advice. You cannot go wrong if you round up your crew and say, hey, man, let's all meet at BRIX JAX Beach. If you're in this area, this is a great place, big place, TVs everywhere, and they know how to put on an event. It'll be crowded here. You kind of want to get around the crowd. They can handle a crowd. So that's my first piece of advice. If you're down in the beach area tomorrow or Sunday and you want to bring a group to come watch some ball, you can't go wrong here. Okay, here's your schedule this weekend for the NFL. Saturday, 2 games, 4:30 Houston at Kansas City. That will be chased by the night game, Washington at Detroit. So Houston, Kansas City, Saturday, the early game, 4:30. And then the second game, the night game, is Washington at Detroit. Detroit's the team I'm kind of pulling for in the NFC. They're kind of a fun story. Lovable losers over the years, pretty much. A lot of injuries. But it's been fun to watch Detroit and their head coach, Campbell, rebuild their franchise. They were good last year. They're good this year. And they're starting to get a little more healthy. They're fun to watch. Washington Washington and Houston, obviously, the large underdogs going into tomorrow's 2 games in the NFL. And then Sunday, a couple more games come up on Sunday, of course, and they will be they'll start earlier on Sunday, which I think we all like. Sunday, your first game will kick off at 3 o'clock. 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. The LA Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's going to be a pretty good game, pretty evenly matched. Philly, the favorite, but the Rams, that one wouldn't surprise me if we had a little upset. And then Sunday, the night game, and I love the fact that it's 6:30, not 8:30. 6:30, the night game on Sunday, second of 2 games on Sunday in the NFL playoffs. Really the one everybody wants to see. Baltimore at Buffalo. This is the biggest playoff game, non-Super Bowl playoff game I think you could have without having Kansas City involved. Without having the 2-time defending champion involved. This would be the biggest one. And man, this is getting some publicity now. Baltimore at Buffalo. I've picked Baltimore preseason. They're the team I think is going to win it. I still think Baltimore is going to win it all. But Baltimore and Buffalo, man alive, is there going to be a disappointed fan base. There's going to be one really good team going home after this weekend in the NFL playoffs that between Baltimore and Buffalo, one's going home, and what a shame. They will not make it to the conference championship game. I want to stay with this game for a moment. Baltimore, Buffalo. And I want to tie in Kansas City. And first, let me say I totally understand, and Kansas City deserves what I'm about to talk about. They earned it with their play in the regular season. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC, and with that comes some benefits. Think about the team that wins between Baltimore and Buffalo. Whoever wins that game, to win the Super Bowl, here's all they have to do the next 3 games. The Baltimore-Buffalo winner would have to beat either Buffalo or Baltimore. That's a tough, tough battle. Then, in all likelihood, they would have to go to Kansas City and knock off the 2-time defending champions on their home field. Then they would have to go to the Super Bowl and win it. That's tough. That is real tough. So, when we've pointed this out, big advantage if Kansas City does get by Houston, and most people think they will. There's a big advantage for Kansas City. Conventional thinking and the seeding says it. Kansas City's best team in the AFC, followed by Buffalo, Baltimore, Baltimore, Buffalo. Kansas City, if everything holds, Kansas City would only have to go through one of the 2 teams that are playing tomorrow, Buffalo or Baltimore. The winner of Buffalo-Baltimore has to go through that game, then Kansas City. So certainly it would appear a much easier road. And again, you're supposed to get benefits if you have done enough in the regular season to capture the number 1 seed, which Kansas City has. We'll keep talk going on with Patrick also and with Brent Beard, get his thoughts. But let's back up. Houston at Kansas City. I think by winning that first playoff game, no matter what happens with the Texans tomorrow at Arrowhead, Houston now, by winning one playoff game, getting deep into the playoffs, Houston will call it a successful season. So, things got a little loose. I didn't think Houston this year played as well as I thought they would, nor did C.J. Stroud. He didn't have a terrible year, but he didn't. There didn't seem to be the spark I thought was going to be there. If Houston gets, even if they get eliminated tomorrow, I think it's a win for Houston. I think they will take good momentum into next year, and obviously that's not great news for the Jaguars. I think Houston's around to stay for at least a couple, 2-3 more years. So tall order for Houston at Kansas City. I certainly will ride with Kansas City in that game. Washington at Detroit. Boy, does Washington remind a lot of people, including myself. The Commanders remind me, their season they're having, it reminds me of last year's Houston team and the season the Texans had last year. A lot of similarities, including a rookie quarterback just hitting the ground running. That's a tall order, though. The Commanders on the road at Detroit. Detroit rested up. Detroit, how much Montgomery can give Detroit is yet to be seen. But, man, they have weathered all these injuries. And, again, Detroit, by virtue of getting the bye they're a real threat to get to that Super Bowl from the NFC. And if they get there, the fun story is going to be, does Aiden Hutchinson play and at what level? Because he swears if the Lions make the Super Bowl, he will be ready. 4 months, almost to the day, since suffering his serious injury, broken fibula, tibia. He swears he's going to go. And Dr. Bates said it's time frame wise, it's well within the realm of getting on the field. Now, how effective he will be, that's another story. I think Detroit runs away as that game plays on. They've got them in a dome. Crowd should be nuts. So I'm looking at the two favorites in the Saturday matchups. Kansas City moves on, I think, and Detroit. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm not a Kansas City hater, and I'm not a guy that says, man, it's terrible for the game if one team dominates. I'm not that guy. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if Houston won that game, but I'm not anti-KC. I'm not anti-Mahomes. Kelsey, I'm not anti. I'm glad the Kelsey Swift thing has the temperature has turned down a little bit on that. It did get a little much, but I'm not a hater of KC. I'm neutral in that game. I'm pulling for Detroit though. In the second game tomorrow, I'll be pulling for Detroit. I think they're a fun story. They're fresh. I like the way they play. Their coach is a little unconventional by NFL standards, both play calling, decision making, and he gets a little ahead of himself with his emotions. Kind of fun. It's kind of fun, particularly in the NFL, which can be very robotic at times and very. I've called the NFL, and I've used an analogy with the NFL for years. One of the things that turns me off about the NFL, it's so sterile. Everything is so A gets you to B, and B gets you to C, and C gets you to D. I've said for years, the NFL reminds me a little bit of The Wizard of Oz, where Roger Goodell and the people that run the league, they're in New York behind the curtain like the wizard in the movie, and they're kind of all the games are on every time they have games, and they're hooked into every one of the games, and they're kind of saying, hey, we need an extra field goal in this game. Hey, this team needs to score a touchdown here. They kind of the league gets a little homogenized to me. It's sterile. And Detroit goes against some of these stereotypes. They're kind of fun, and they're lovable losers. Again, they haven't won in a long, long time, and they've got a little Chicago Cubs feel to them, kind of the lovable losers, long-time franchise, had success decades ago, and even through the Barry Sanders run when Sanders was there and is arguably as good a running back as ever played in the NFL. They got to a playoff once or twice with Sanders, but man, Barry Sanders just labored in Detroit. They had some terrible teams when he was there. So Detroit, I think, wins. And I'll be pulling for them to represent the NFC. Sunday's games, looking at it, the Rams at Philadelphia. I think that could be an upset. I'm not a Hurts guy. He scares me. Jalen Hurts is he's one of those quarterbacks, and I'm not a fan of Philadelphia, but I watch him a lot. They're on TV a lot. He's one of those guys where even at Alabama, I never feel confident when he throws the football that it's going where he wants it to go. I just never do. And I know there's times he gets hot and he hits the big pass like a lot of those quarterbacks do. But give me the upset in that game. Give me the upset. And then Baltimore-Buffalo should be a whale of a game, a huge game. I'll ride Baltimore. I love when they got Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson's numbers are ridiculous. Hell of a game. Buffalo at home. This will be crushing. If Baltimore does beat Buffalo, that's crushing because Buffalo thinks this was the year they can handle Kansas City. Hell of a game, though. 6:30 on Sunday, and I love the fact that game on Sunday is not at 8:30. I'm glad we don't have to battle through an 8:30 Eastern kickoff. So I wanted to set up the the NFL playoffs in case you have or we're not sure. That's kind of the setup Saturday and Sunday. Let's go ahead and take our first break here of the day. We're going to hear from Patrick Young, hopefully in a few minutes here as we cruise on a Friday. I want to get his thoughts on some topics we've had over the week. And let's look at the SEC basketball schedule for tomorrow. 3 games involving 2 ranked teams. Florida, not one of those games. The Gators take on unranked Texas. But Florida's reeling a little bit. They are coming off their first really ugly performance. When you play 35 to 40 games in a long season, hopefully that goes into March Madness, you're going to have a stinker or two. And Florida had their first real stinker basketball game. How do the Gators rebound? We'll talk about that as we cruise. One down, a long way to go. It's a Friday edition, the Young and Norvelle Show from our Friday home, BRIX, JAX Beach.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at BRIX JAX Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at BRIX JAX Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports JAX 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News JAX app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports JAX 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News JAX Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports JAX 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
I don't know last time I turned it on.
All right, here we are. We got it's almost like we've got a caged tiger that's raring to go. That's Patrick Young talking before we even introduced him. He's so ready to go. Pat, you ready to talk some ball? How you doing, my friend? Welcome back to Friday.
I'm ready to talk with it. I'm ready to take. I'm ready to take you down always. So
no, be nice.
You know, I'm a cheetah. I'm a leopard ready to strike at all times. You just don't know. I can just hide it well.
And you're always there. You're always lurking, right? You're always around.
Always lurking.
Yeah. So we are back.
You might not see me, but I see you.
Nice. Friday location, of course, we're at BRIX JAX Beach. Patrick, kind of a fun Friday. Got a lot of different topics. We had to lead off the show, and I want to get your thoughts. Some real unflattering accusations have been thrown at Torian. I kind of explained in the first segment, so we don't have to go deep into that. But, yeah, it's kind of hopefully the accusations aren't true. I don't want anybody to be assaulted. But, yeah, it's kind of a strange situation. The head coach is kind of being investigated, and one of his number one coaches on the bench. That kind of knocked me back when I saw that story yesterday about Torian Green.
Yeah, me too.
Sexual assault.
Yeah, me too. And I'm going to, man, it's really, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to not believe a woman that says this inappropriate thing happened. But, you know, I know Torian is married. I know he's, and, you know, it's a staff member. It's not a student. It's not so I don't know, man. Like but, you know, I bet, you know, if there's any, and this is a shame too, but if there's any messaging that he and this girl have, this woman have of like being in a relationship or being in some type of, even though obviously morally that's wrong, it's not criminally wrong, or then maybe there's some protection there for him. But I don't know. Zero idea. You know, I hope he didn't give off an unwanted attempt of intimacy with this lady. But man, you just hate to see it. You hate to see it, man.
Sure. And
disheartening.
Secondarily, and I tried to qualify this when we broke what's going on in this first segment for our viewers. Secondarily, just another awkward situation for a group of basketball players. You know, the basketball team, they're, you know, whichever direction. And there was there was a little bit of news on the Todd Golden situation with regard to the investigation with his accusations against him. I think Florida came out a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we pretty much put a good comb to this thing, and we haven't found anything to substantiate. But Pat, what about the players? I mean, at some point, will this start affecting their court performance?
I don't know. I've never been in a situation before.
Yeah, sure.
So but look, I thought with Chris Beard and his situation that happened with his wife and him putting it, I don't know what happened exactly. I think it may have actually been self-defense. Yeah. But either way, you know, it's not a good look. And like, I was in my perception is like, how is he going to recruit and tell these young kids and parents that they should trust me as a leader of them over the next 4 years or so? And he's been recruiting just fine. He's gotten players there. Obviously, money doesn't hurt when you can offer. Money seems to cover a good amount of sins there, Terry.
But didn't that the Chris Beard thing came full circle where I think he almost got exonerated in terms of it. It was
his wife obviously, like his wife didn't press charges, and I think she came out and admitted like it was her fault that things transpired or something like that. So that's where that's a little bit different. It obviously helps when the person that we naturally think is the victim comes out and says no, that's not what it was. But you wish Texas would have taken some time before making that decision, like maybe a suspension or something like that before and they just let him go. Like it was really quick. It was really quick.
They were quick on that. Now, I don't know how long they were investigating before it made public news, but, and I also
think it made public news the next day.
Did it? Okay. Yeah, but
I believe so.
I'm with you. I thought Texas went fast with that. I mean, there was the accusation, and he was fired. Man, it was quick.
What's annoying? That went way too fast. And what's his name? Wade, the guy that was the LSU.
Will Wade, or
I can't remember.
Will
Wade. That went way too. That was 2 years, Terry.
A couple of years. Yeah.
2 freaking years.
Yeah.
Of being investigated by the FBI. No wonder people commit crimes, because they just know it's going to take forever to get caught.
Pat, so I was asking you about the Florida team. Will these two separate now in the news? Everybody knows about it. Situations with coaches on the Gator staff. Will it affect the play on the court for the Gator basketball team? And you're not sure, nor am I. I will say this: it will affect them.
I think it'll affect recruiting. I think it could.
Here's where it will affect them, and I'll tap into you've made all these trips. I mean, you've played in front of the hostile Auburn crowd and the hostile Alabama crowd and the hostile Georgia crowd. They won't go back to Kentucky, but you get where I'm going. Every road game, as if the hostile crowd wasn't bad enough, this will heat up the crowds when they go on the road. This is just fodder, isn't it? This is just easy.
Yeah, for sure.
To turn up the intensity of the visit, the home crowd when the Gators go on the road.
Yeah,
it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no way, and that's what sucks. Because let's say Todd Golden, completely innocent. If he's he's still gonna hear. You're still gonna hear these things, nasty things being said to you, and there's been nothing to prove that those claims are true.
Yeah.
So that's another mental. It's but I didn't do anything, and they're still going to call you and say things that are probably nasty and obviously perpetuating something that was never proven. I can't say it's not true, but never proven.
But I think all season long, when Florida goes on the road in basketball, the student sections were going to have fun with the Todd Golden stuff, but it had started to kind of wane a little bit. This is just going to bring it back up, and there's a second bullet in the gun.
Yep.
So I expect the fans, particularly the student section at the away games for Gator basketball, I expect them to be just lit, man. They're going to be lit.
I mean, it just looks so bad because it's a staff member,
yeah.
And the staff member's ever since that incident, I'm never in a situation. I'm always, I'm never alone in a room with him at work or et cetera. Dang, what are these people doing here?
And he, not that this factors, but Torian, was it last year? He got put in the Florida Hall of Fame, didn't he? Remember he got the
I think it was last season.
Yeah. I mean, he's a beloved Gator now. I mean, the starting point guard, the quarterback on back-to-back national championship basketball teams. I mean, he was an integral part of that team. He was very important.
Yes, he was. Huge part. Integral.
Very, very important on that. Pat, while we're talking basketball, let's continue this segment. Saturday, tomorrow, pretty good day in the conference. Every day they play is going to be a good day in the conference. We've got 3 SEC ranked teams going at it, three different games. Let's talk about a couple of them. At noon, how about at noon? Alabama at Kentucky. Alabama, a lot like Florida.
A nooner.
Noon. I can't wait for that game. And how about Alabama's a lot like Florida? Boy, Alabama had a stinker the other night. They got beat up by Ole Miss. They didn't play well at all.
Yeah, 64 points. I don't know what happened. Oh, well, I know what happened. They turned the ball over a million times. Whenever they lose, it's always because turnovers eliminate your chance to get offensive rebounds, and it eliminates your chance to get shots up. And they have an offense that's all about getting up shots and getting offensive rebounds. So, yeah, that wasn't it. That was not it. Whatever they did last game. Or maybe, Ole Miss, man, they that legit.
They roughed them up, man. They were physical with them. But, man, Patrick, that Alabama team that we've seen the last couple of years, and we know those players, any Alabama team with Mark Sears, it's hard to hold them to 64. They scored 60 for that Alabama team. My God, they're a scoring team.
Yeah, it is. It is hard. It's hard to believe because I think they had a streak of 70 or more, something ridiculous for,
Yeah.
I don't know, 40 something games or whatever. And that got absolutely. I was at and I know you want to stay on the SEC games, and but Jacksonville related. I did the JU game last night, and it was a really good game up until the last 2.5 minutes, where the officials just decided they wanted to be the thing you talk about. They wanted to be the story.
Yeah.
But JU, they got the win against North Alabama. They should have won by more because they missed a lot of baskets around the hoop. They missed a lot, but they got another one. They got Central Arkansas on Saturday. Should be an easier game. And they won four in a row. Four in a row, man.
Is JU playing better, or are they just playing a weaker part of their schedule?
North Alabama was supposed to be a good team. I mean, the beginning of the schedule for them was the hardest part, I thought. Lipscomb and Austin Peay were teams projected to win the league pretty much, and they split that, and they should have beat Lipscomb. But Queens right now is 5-0 in conference play.
Right.
So they're the team to beat right now, but there's like 3 teams under Queens that are 4-1, one-loss team. So it's tight. It's tight in the ASUN.
Yeah. Jumping back to the SEC, Alabama we talked about a minute ago. They're on the road, early game at Kentucky. So far, Mark Pope and Kentucky, they're better than I thought they were going to be. He's done a nice job.
Absolutely.
And they're pieced together a little bit. He's kind of pieced them together.
And they're way more fun to watch.
They are.
Than older Kentucky, Cal Kentucky's. They you get a lot more alley-oops and stuff, but in terms of like organized, coaching, structure basketball, and these guys play the right way. You can tell that they play for each other.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised at all to see Kentucky. Well, and plus A&M for Wade Taylor wasn't playing again.
Yeah.
Kentucky, A&M just does not have enough juice without him to go out there and win games like that on the road. They don't.
I'm really impressed with Mark Pope, the way he's pieced that. He didn't recruit all these guys. He went out and got some portal guys, and he's pieced it together, and it
crazy.
Looks cohesive right now. He's what? Oh, you hit a bad spot. I want to hear crazy something you said, Patrick. We'll try and get Pat. He's moving. He'll find a better spot. He's moving. So
it's not.
We're losing Pat a little bit. Definitely
want
to. Go ahead. Repeat the crazy part, Pat. I think we've got you back, Patrick. Can you hear us, Pat? Well, he's on the move. He'll get into a better area. So Alabama is facing a possible. Okay, yeah, now we hear you back now, Pat. How about Alabama facing a potential back-to-back loss? Wow, it can turn quick in this conference, man. It can turn real quick in this SEC conference. Other games we'll kick around with Pat tomorrow, 1:00. Number 1 Auburn coming off a very impressive win, their first game without Broome. Auburn is at Georgia. Georgia had a tough one. They got routed pretty good. Their first game as a ranked team. That is 1 versus 23. Georgia is still ranked until the next ranking comes out probably. And then the Egg Bowl basketball style, Ole Miss coming off that. I mean, that's one of the better wins of the year, man. Ole Miss went into Tuscaloosa and really never was threatened in the second half by Alabama. Ole Miss, 21st ranked Ole Miss, is at Mississippi State. Mississippi State got routed their last game. Mississippi State comes in 15th, but they're going to drop. But that is still a ranked SEC game. Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State. So 3 games tomorrow out of the SEC involving top 25 teams facing each other. Florida takes on Texas tomorrow. Texas is not one of their better teams. They're starting to figure it out. They've got a real nice player named Johnson. But, Florida needs this game. It's another – you do not need to lose back-to-back home games in a tight SEC. Pat, I don't know if you can still hear us. If not, we'll take a quick break. Pat, are you there? Okay, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and Pat's on the move. He'll get into a better signal area, and we'll bring back these topics about SEC basketball. A big story going on possibly out of college football or college athletics with regard to Title IX. We'll get into that with Patrick and, of course, Brent Beard. And I want to get some thoughts on a topic from yesterday. Shedeur Sanders. If you gave him truth serum, does Shedeur Sanders want to play in the NFL on his daddy's team? We'll get Pat's thoughts on that when we come back. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. A lot of topics to cover. Stay with us right here on a Friday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports JAX. Coming to you live from BRIX, JAX Beach.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at BRIX JAX Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at BRIX JAX Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports JAX to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News JAX in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports JAX 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports JAX 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
All right, we hope to re-hook and connect with Patrick Young. Pat was in the middle of some great comments about some sports topics, and in particular, SEC basketball. If Pat gets in a better area, he's traveling right now. I'm sure he'll hook back up. Stay with us, though, at the top of the hour. After the top of the hour break, We will have Brent Beard, a lot to cover with Brent, including some real interesting developments possibly around Title IX. Title IX, you know, I don't want to bore everybody with the explanation. I think most people know what it is now. And Title IX, with regard to equality of salary cap, there's a salary cap coming to college athletics. We all know that. Title IX might throw a monkey wrench in. It might be good. It might be bad. I've got some angles on both sides. I can't wait to hear Brent's thoughts on the news about Title IX that is coming out that may be enacted. And I think it may help to a degree. I think Title IX historically has been a great intended idea that has incredibly difficult implications. It's hard to implement it fairly across the board. I don't know if did I hear Pat? Hey, buddy. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, how about that? That is tough. Yes. Yes. The whole concept of Title IX is fair, equal numbers of let's just say opportunity when it comes to collegiate athletics. You got to have comparable number of sports. And you can't say, well, we're only going to have 3 women's sports because they don't make any money, and we're going to have 17 men. So the concept where this is going, Pat, is it's been determined now that the Power 5, Power 4, Division I, like we're going to say football, there's going to be a $20.5 million salary cap that each university can use to pay their athletes across the board. Okay? Well, most athletic departments have already let it be known that the bulk of that payment, that salary cap, just like the NFL, they're going to have a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
Can't go over it. They're going to have a salary cap. Most of your major schools have said, okay, the bulk of that $20.5 million is going to go to the football team and the basketball team, the 2 programs that bring in money for most of these big schools. Well, the argument now is, whoa. This salary cap structure that is about to be introduced to college athletics is also going to fall under Title IX. Equality. So if you are to divvy out $20.5 million to men's athletics, you also have to divvy out $20.5 to women's. And if you put that together, that's $41 million of salary.
I thought it was the 20.5 is just has to be spread out equally among. I didn't. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. If there has to be an additional 20.5,
there has to be matching 20.5. Well, either way, that's bad news for.
Yeah, they're both bad.
But it sounds like they're going to want 20.5 to women's athletics for them to divvy it out. Well, think about that. That's a little over 40 million in salary. The University of Florida can handle that. They have a athletic budget of what? Well over $100 million a year. Ohio State, Michigan, the big boys can handle that. But what about Southern Miss, Division I Southern Miss? Their entire budget may be $65 million, right? $60 million. Well, if they got to spend $40 million to pay men and women's salaries, they might get out of Division I athletics. They can't afford it, which I'm not so sure is a bad thing, Patrick, in the long run. So there's a lot of tentacles to this thing, man. A lot of tentacles.
I don't like, yeah, both ways are bad, but like it's, it just seems like the progress and the things that makes the most sense. Like, I think the Trump administration will have a hand in this. I think so, because it just doesn't make. Look, I completely agree. Like, yeah, like should there be a revenue share for all sports? Sure, in a sense, but like people are not like Like, can you not have the remember when that Ole Miss situation happened, Terry, with the coach, the women's basketball coach, how angry she got about that guy just presenting facts.
I remember that well. Yes,
I remember that very well. And you're like, she's getting so mad about facts that literally, no, like, this is, the women's program loses X amount of money every year, and it's like,
yeah,
can that not be a dispute against why, this program, this part is not making money, or I don't know, something like to the evidence to show that, that isn't practical, at least for not right now.
I mean, can you imagine the starting point guard for the Duke men's basketball team? Maybe a 5-star, maybe a soon-to-be NBA player. Duke is on TV. Duke wins games in March Madness. Duke basketball brings in money. Can you imagine the starting point guard for Duke basketball? His cut of NIL money, the salary cap money, would be the same as the point guard for that Ole Miss basketball team, the women's basketball team. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
It's just and remember that coach was the coach from JU. Remember,
it's so crazy, Terry, because the whole idea of getting a scholarship and going to a school is because you were good enough.
Yeah.
You were good enough to earn that scholarship in the eyes of the coaches.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a step back. I understand the idea of wanting to be fair.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's fair. Like, they're looking at the people that aren't receiving versus the people that are. Like, it's fair to the men's. Look, maybe, and I'm not gonna say maybe the number is too high for how much money.
Yeah.
Because the college and the basketball and football players are making, but they should be making the most because they bring in the most. They're the ones that, because they're doing so well, there's a residual effect to the rest of the other sports.
See, that's the rub, and that is the commonsensical way to look at it. But Title IX, which is a federal passed law that you have to follow, or you're breaking Title IX. What you said is the common sense, and I totally agree. Title IX has it's a great idea that has very hard implementation, because if you take Title IX on its surface, it's equality, and they're going to screen a large group is going to say, no, you can't pay the women less than the men under Title IX. It's a federal, it's a sticky wicket. I think it might help some areas and still hurt. I also think, Patrick, if the women start making serious money, won't that have a trickle-down effect? Won't you have more high school and junior high school girls going, man, I'm gonna continue playing softball and baseball?
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. I do like that. I love that dynamic, that idea of it, Terry. That's smart.
Positive. But I can't wait to get Brent on to hear his thoughts on this as well. I also think this could be a precursor if these schools have to pony up $20 million on each side for salary, men and women. I'm telling you, I see the Southern Misses of the world and the East Carolinas of the world. I see them going, hey, man, we got to get out of this. We can't.
But isn't it? It's not percentage based, or I know there's a cap on it, but like, let's just say, because I think the number before I heard like this hard line at 20.5 was like it had to be 22% of the revenue share. Because that then makes it a little bit like, if it's just a hard number like that, then obviously, like you just said, Southern Miss and they can't accommodate that. At the sake of like their whole program, just
that would eat their budget up. That would eat the Floridas of the world that get the big TV. So this may, in a roundabout way, this may help the bottom line. The bottom line is
why.
Go ahead.
And people might not like me for saying this, but why do women get so mad when you present? Not just women.
Oh,
still got me.
Go ahead.
But why get so angry when presented with the facts of like, hey, this league or this thing is not making money, which keeps it afloat, you know? It's not a personal thing. The consumers, the fans, they're the ones that decide where their dollars go, and they're not going here. So like, I don't understand. I understand the frustration from the point of like, I would love if women's sports. I would love if women's sports made more money. I would love that, Terry.
Yeah, well,
they don't.
You just described the WNBA, and
Yeah,
they scream about wanting equality and all, but they lose money, gobs of money, and
millions.
The problem too is your commonsensical approach. That language is not in the Title IX bill that passed in 1972. Right. You know, because formula they
in that when they made the bill, Terry, they weren't thinking that this was ever going to happen.
Yeah,
that money would be. So I don't want to say go back and adjust things with how things are now, but that's what you have to do. This was written assuming that NIL would never happen.
Yeah.
So that's not right.
Here's another thing that Title IX, it has great intentions. Title IX, I will never argue the intentions, but the implementation.
Oh yeah.
But here's another thing you would hate to see happen. What if these schools are forced to pay this money, both sides, men's and women's, and to be a Division I school, I think the number is 16. You have to have a minimum of 16 sports. Well, what if some of these schools say we can't handle that, or you know what, we're just going to drop down and we're going to eliminate some sports, and we'll drop down to Division II, where you only have to have 12 sports, and you start eliminating sports. Title IX then would have an indirect effect on people going to college because there wouldn't be as many.
Oh yeah.
That's
a real fear. You're absolutely right.
All of a sudden they get equality money wise, but you're losing opportunity because Southern Miss says, well, hell, we can't run with those dogs. Let's drop down.
That's an interesting point there, Terry.
We're getting rid of that men's golf. We're getting rid of women's golf. We're going down,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a sticky wicket, man. And
that's a great argument, Terry. That's a great argument.
It's a sticky wicket, man. And Lord knows I'm pro women. I've got a daughter that was a cheerleader, and you've got a daughter. I mean, we're not anti-women, but
not at all, man.
Until they fight, it's hard. There needs to be some type of formula. You can't. Football and basketball are the breadwinners.
Yeah.
Men's and there's nothing close to those two.
Nothing close. Yeah, exactly.
And to say, man, it's awkward. It's really, really awkward. And it's an area where you've got the government involved as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got the government involved in too many things in terms of because like, again, Title IX was written back in that time, not thinking about like it was fairness, right? Fairness, right?
Yeah.
And now, what's the place for Title IX when we have potentially biological disagreements?
Yeah.
On where people that were born a certain way fit.
Yeah.
I don't want people. I would love if you're good enough, take that opportunity, but it can't be based off of some natural ability that you did nothing like we have no control over being a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah.
And we know there's limitation on average. An average man is stronger than an average woman. It's just average, but anyways, yeah, like this is the stuff this is the part of it that makes sports like right now not the funnest place to think about where the future potentially could go.
I agree. And
if that makes sense.
When Title IX was born, it was born to be put in place to govern amateur athletics. The NCAA was never born to run professional athletics. They're being asked to do something very difficult. my analogy. The NCAA now is being asked to totally 180-degree switch. It's almost like the plumbing company is being told, hey, tomorrow you also got to do roofing. Well, we don't know roofing. Title IX was enacted to govern amateur athletics, not professional athletics.
Not professional athletics. That's what this is now.
Yeah, it's something. All right, Pat. I don't know if you need to go. We're going to have Brent on. If you need to take off and duck out, I understand it's Friday afternoon, and I know you're busy as heck. We're going to take our top of the hour break. And real quick, does Florida have any trouble with Texas tomorrow on the hardwood?
They have a really good freshman guard. Johnson. I don't know. I don't think Texas is good enough. They did go and beat Oklahoma. But look, I didn't think if you would asked me the same question about Missouri, I would have said that. And
we said it.
I don't know, man.
We said
in the SEC, you got to show up.
Hey, just promise me there won't be 9 reviews tomorrow in the Gator game. Like, that was ridiculous. That number of reviews the other night, it was unbelievable. They must have had 9 or 10.
Well, that's why I said last night's game at the JU game was so good until the last 2.5, because there were at least, I don't know, 6 or 7 reviews in that last 2.5 that were so dumb.
Ooh. Hey, was Pat Adams a ref when you were at Florida?
Yeah, he was.
What do you think of him?
I liked him a lot more before that game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he got a lot of airtime the other night, didn't he? Oh,
he got a lot of airtime.
The reviews were
He's
incredible.
a good official. Just I don't know what was up with that. But again, I go back to this theory. If the Gators start the game off playing the way that we've seen them, the game's not that close. And you're not having to fight so hard to come back.
Hey, is it coincidence that the Kentucky shooter went absolutely bonkers against Florida and the Missouri guy? Is that coincidence, or is Florida still having trouble with the 3-point line defense?
It seems like they're having trouble figuring out how to not let shooters shoot. Yes.
Man, that guy. He had one or two that were contested, but most of his, he had good looks, man. Florida let him have good looks, and he drilled them. He really did. All right, Patrick Young, get out of here. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend.
All right, my man. I'll catch you later.
Watch a lot of basketball and a lot of football, man.
Oh, yeah.
Big-time games coming up. All right, Patrick Young is out. We appreciate everything he does, of course, for this show, which has his name on it, the Young and Norvelle Show. 1 hour down, 1 to go. We'll come back, and we'll welcome Brent Beard. A lot to get into. He'll have a lot of thoughts on this Title IX stuff that is kind of percolating a little bit. A lot of answers and a lot of massaging will still take place over the next several years, I think, in college athletics and in particular college football. Let's come back and welcome Brent Beard, our buddy Brent, who does a good job with college football and basketball. Our number one analyst, Brent Beard, joins us on the other side. The Young and Norvelle Show continues on a Friday from BRIX, Jacksonville.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at BRIX JAX Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at BRIX JAX Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports JAX to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News JAX in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports JAX 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports JAX 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
All right, as we do a lot of times, we trade in Patrick Young. Get the heck out of here, Pat. Hey, Pat, you did a good job, but we got to push him aside. And we introduced Brent Beard. Brent joins us here, our main man. Brent's kind enough to add spice to our show and a lot of knowledge. Brent, glad to have you on a Friday. I'm with you. We were talking during the break. Whew, I haven't had a bad week, but man, I'm glad Friday's here.
Yeah, they're just and the reality of people haven't heard this. I mean, it's going to get wet. Yes. Tomorrow.
Yes.
And we're going to have a lot of rain. We honestly need it. And then, Terry, I think Monday and Tuesday, the high is 47.
Yeah, this is that really cold they've been calling for, right? It's coming up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I heard one of the weather guys saying today was going to be beautiful, and it was. But he said, enjoy it. He said it's going to roll in the rain, I guess, by noon tomorrow, and it's going to stick around, and then it gets cold.
Terry, I did a podcast last night, and the host was in Vancouver. And we were in the break, and I said, by the way, what's temperature there? And he said -4.
That's wrong.
Terry, is wrong. Terry, you can't even listen. You can't even get out.
No.
In -4. I mean, Terry, heaven forbid, if it was -4 here, would the majority of people would they have enough antifreeze in their cars run?
No, not at all. And even not way up to Vancouver, but our northern friends in this country, people that live in true northern states.
Yeah.
And I've been told this. I never thought of this, but they have to, if they're smart, you put a survival kit in your car.
Yes.
You put extra blankets, you put probably some sterno, you put some food, some water, because you could be stranded on the side of the road for Lord knows how long.
And Terry, wouldn't you have to have something that generates heat, like a lot of these hand warmers or things of that nature? You could be in some trouble real fast.
They probably throw a couple of those logs that you light the plastic out. You probably makes. I don't know, but man, a survival kit in your car in case you got out of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Survival kit in my car is a Diet Dr. Pepper and a thing of salted cashew nuts. You know, when I stop at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that would keep you going at least for an hour or so.
How's Chino doing right there? How's Chino feeling?
He is well. He got a couple of days ago. Chino got a arthritis shot.
Oh my!
That he's going to be getting monthly. He got a also an antibiotic shot because he's a bit anemic, with some vitamins in it, and he got some fluids. I mean, it sounds like it's not like what a football player would get in September.
You don't happen to have any of that extra arthritis shot stuff? My hand, I think I got some arthritis going.
Yeah, that would help all of us. It really would. Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little. Let's lead off with a little basketball. 3 games tomorrow, ranked teams, and Pat and I talked a little bit about it. High noon. Alabama needs a win. Alabama goes into Lexington.
They really do.
I mean, Alabama and Florida both had really stinker games during the midweek. Bama at Kentucky. I was stunned to see that Alabama offense not be able to score. And credit Ole Miss. They played hard and tough. But, that's going to be a fun one tomorrow at noon, isn't it?
Chris Beard really knows what he's doing at Ole Miss.
Sure does.
And they were able to take away a lot of the angles. Alabama had 21 turnovers. And as you and I talked on Wednesday, Terry, you had a situation where Ole Miss shot the ball 70 times, Alabama 48. There is no way in the world you can win a ball game when you've got that kind of discrepancy on that. Listen, that would be like, Terry, that'd be like what? Running the ball 40 times for 300 yards. And the opposition run it 16 times for 20.
Yeah, hard to lose. And, you don't shoot 71 times without you got a bunch of offensive rebounds.
Yes.
You got a lot of second chances. And, I mean, think about it. Pat and I talk about how devastating offensive rebounds are in basketball.
Yeah.
If I miss my first shot, but I get the offensive rebound, that first shot didn't even count.
Yeah.
It's erased.
Right.
You get 2 cracks at it.
Yeah.
You get 2 cracks at it. Yeah. I watched the way that we talked, the way those games played out the other night. The Florida game was the night game, the late game. Man, I watched a lot of that Ole Miss game. Ole Miss, man, they're physical. That one guy's about 300 pounds, and he's a good coach. You're right. He's a real good coach. That's a big game now. Bama needs that win.
Yeah, they do.
And I can't wait for that game at noon. Auburn, I don't want to be old now. Now you say it, Terry. I thought Auburn was going to play their ass off their first game without the night room, and they did. And, Bruce Pearl stirred them up. Georgia also got work midweek. Georgia at home. Auburn, they made a statement. They said, hey, man, we're going to get our big guy back at some point.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to take advantage of that, think again. Auburn was impressive.
They really were. And I mean, look, they didn't have one. They had about 4 guys who really stepped up in that situation. So, and look, I thought Mississippi State's a pretty good team. I really thought they are. I mean, they've got a really good coach. They're long and lean. They're very athletic.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Auburn didn't even – I'm not sure they broke a sweat in that game almost.
They really didn't. And, I know Bruce Pearl is out front. He's type A, very aggressive personality, very in a good way, aggressive personality. But, man, he is perfect for the college athlete. I don't think Bruce Pearl would have a crack at the NBA, and I don't think he'd be good. He'd overwhelm his high school team, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But he fits that 20-year-old, 22-year-old college athlete to it. He is a really good coach and motivator at that level.
Well, and see, here's the thing they do really well. Baker Mazzara had 20 points. Chaney Johnson had 17. Denver Jones had 13. And Tahad Pettiford had 12. I mean, that's easily 4 guys in double digits.
Yeah.
So when you're able to do that, Miles Kelly, even though Broom was out, had a double-double with 10 rebounds and 13 points. And again, as you mentioned, now Auburn, But I mean, they just continue to do what they do. Great point about Pearl. Pearl is even keel. He's a great recruiter. He's good for the game of basketball. And look, if Pearl had been honest about that barbecue in Tennessee, his life would have changed with that too. But man, oh man, you mentioned Alabama. Alabama and Auburn played the last regular season game of the season, and they play again early in February. So those are going to be two incredible games.
They really are. Going back to what you said about Pearl and that barbecue that knocked him out of college coaching for a little while, he had to go reset himself, do TV. I'm confident in saying if Bruce Pearl never left Tennessee, if he was still at Tennessee, he would have one national title under his belt. He had it on at Tennessee.
And look, you and I respect Rick Barnes, but the reality of this is, Terry, at some point in the NCAA tournament, I don't know if he gets tight with this team or what he does, but they check out and they have one of those games that are almost Mario Cristobal like.
Yeah, I agree. And I like Barnes. But I would take Bruce Pearl, and I know Auburn had a very early exit last year in March Madness, but I would take Bruce Pearl 10 times out of 10 to lead my team into March Madness over Rick Barnes, and I like Barnes.
Yeah,
I think Pearl is good. People may forget when Pearl was at Tennessee, they were really good, and they went knuckle to knuckle, blow for blow against Florida's back-to-back national champion. Bruce Pearl's Tennessee teams beat Florida more than Florida beat them in that 2-year run.
Oh yeah. Hey, do you remember Pearl in the when Pat Summitt was coaching? Paints his body orange, gets in the stands, and roots for the Lady Vols.
Yes, that was great. And then I think it was a Florida game. Pearl, I think he's done a good job. He's gotten in better shape. But there's a period where he was really heavy.
Yes,
and it was a game in Gainesville. He had a very like a tan suit on, and it was an intense game. They were going at it. And he was sweating out of that thing, man. He was a mess.
Terry, can you imagine what that laundry bill would have been like after that game?
A lot of the coaches, football and basketball, are very happy that the traditional dress on the court and the sideline changed. Remember, it was understood. There was a period where you wore a tie and a jacket and a tie on the basketball court every coach, and it loosened up in football and basketball, and a lot of them love it.
Well, it certainly let up in basketball. I mean, they basically got these, for lack of a better word, these warm-up suits on now. Yeah. But look, if you're gonna sweat as much as these guys do, I kind of understand that. Now, Buzz Williams still dresses up at A&M.
It does, and that's now his signature. That's part of him, and he likes that, and I respect that. But he literally now he has to have a really sharp suit, and that's his signature. Brent, I'm staying away from the Title IX until next segment because I want us to have a long time on that. I want to stretch this a little bit though, and finally the third game tomorrow, Ole Miss at Mississippi State. Ole Miss impressive win. Mississippi State got thumped, so the Egg Bowl on the court will be interesting. Florida, Pat and I broke that down pretty much. We think Florida will win that game. The Gators need that win. They don't need to lose back-to-back home games in a tough SEC. You only have so many home games. Brent, I want to throw it to the NFL real quick, and I'm going to stay on the Deion to the NFL, his son. I got thinking the other day, and I introduced this topic, and I think a lot of people stepped back and said, Terry, I think you're onto something. Has anybody really asked Shedeur Sanders at the NFL level? That's the big boy level, okay? That's grown man football, professional. Right. Has anyone asked Shedeur, hey, Shedeur, do you want to play in the NFL under your daddy? And how awkward might that locker room be? Those grown men. I wonder if Shador doesn't need Dion to get to the NFL.
No.
If Dion never coached one football game, Shador is going to the NFL. But you wonder, Brent, that could be a weird dynamic that I've never seen in the NFL, I don't think. Does the quarterback really want to play for his daddy as a grown man in the NFL?
Would it actually behoove him to play for another team?
That's where I'm going with it. Yeah.
And not have to do it. And listen, if you're prime, do you go to Dallas and put up with Jerry? To have that? Now look, that'd be hard to turn down. I admit that to be able to have that situation. But Terry, my question is, would these players would they play hard for him, and will they respect him if he got that job?
That's to be seen if he makes the jump. Maybe Dion's using this as leverage because Jerry Jones to land Dion and Shador, I don't know what all he'd have to put together because Dallas drafts too low.
Yeah.
Right now, he'd have to wheel and deal. But maybe Dion's using this as leverage, and he's back channeling like the Giants pick high enough. Hey, Giants. But let me back up. They said they're keeping their coach. But like the Raiders pick high enough to say, hey, you're looking for a coach. If you want Dion, you got to take my son. We're a package deal. I just don't know if I was Shador, sure he loves his dad, but how about that locker room would be great if you're playing for your dad in the NFL, grown man league. That's great while you're winning, but you lose in the NFL. How awkward would that locker room be if Shador throws 3 interceptions and they're in a 4-game losing streak? Oh, daddy's boy, is he ever going to bench his son? And what, that could get really, really hostile in that locker room.
Now again, the Prescott situation would be, if he's healthy and he's going to be playing, could you learn under him? That would be fascinating. But Terry, that team, and I understand the fan base, but my Stars, that team has underachieved for so many years in a row. Under McCarthy, I mean, that not only are they not making the playoffs now, I mean, because of these injuries and so forth, that their games, they're not even competitive.
No, they're not. I want to give credit to Zach. When we brought our producer Zach, he's off today, but when I brought this topic up yesterday or the day before, I thought he explained it well about playing for your dad. He said, Terry, if you really think about it, playing for your dad, okay, that's acceptable in high school. I can see that the good successful high school legend, and his son comes through, and his son's been around football, and he's always been around football, and he's a good player, and he's the quarterback under his dad. That's acceptable. Even to a degree, and Zach made the good point. He goes, but if you start taking it to college, that would be probably the highest level, and we saw Dion do it with Shador. That's about as high. Once you start thinking NFL, I don't think playing for your daddy, and I'm being facetious here, playing for daddy is what you're a grown man if you're in the NFL.
Sure.
I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
And would you even want to coach your son if you were the daddy in the NFL?
I think the only reason you do it would be if you would have a chance to actually have a year or two where you would play instead of having to ride the bench. If he got 2 or 3 years under him before Jerry Jones fired his daddy, that may actually help him somewhere down the road.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. All right, Brent, we've dodged around it. I think this is kind of a big story that is festering a little bit regarding the Title IX.
Yes, it is.
And people asking, well, wait a minute. If there's going to be a men's salary cap across the board, if Title IX is carried out by the letter of the law, don't you have to give that same amount of money to the women? Boy, I see some pros and I see a lot of cons. There may be some pros in this as well. Brett, be ready. Let's talk about that on the other side. A big story I think is developing. and going to have to work itself out with regard to Title IX in college athletics. We'll talk about that on the other side. Brent Beard, Terry Norvelle, and you on the other side here, live from BRIX, JAX Beach. Places filling up. Remember, the Friday $12.99 ribeye special includes 2 sides. You can get up here, plenty of time to get up here and take advantage at BRIX, JAX Beach.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at BRIX JAX Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at BRIX JAX Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports JAX 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News JAX app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports JAX 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News JAX Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports JAX 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
I'll tell you one thing, this Friday edition has got up and went now. We're in the final half hour on a Friday edition live from BRIX JAX Beach. You can hear the happy hour crowd is now turning into the dinner crowd, and the ribeyes, Brent, the ribeyes are flying out of this place.
I bet they are.
Good deal, man. $12.99 ribeye steak.
I bet.
You can't beat that. Brent Beard joins us. We've had Patrick on for the first hour, and he's about his business here on a Friday. Brent, your initial thoughts, stories broke about, where the revenue sharing, which is coming into college athletics. It'll start in July, I think. $20.5 million is the salary cap. Where will that go with regard to women's sports and Title IX and falling under that umbrella? Does that mean an additional $20.5 million a year has to be allocated for the women's side? Brent, what do you make of all this?
Yeah.
I've got some thoughts that are pro and con. This could be good or bad.
Well, I agree totally. Now, here is, and as you mentioned, this summer, the schools will have around 20 million when it shakes out to share. Okay, this is what they were planning on doing, was to give about 75% to football, 15% to men's basketball. That's 90. And then 5% to women's basketball, and 5% divided by the remaining athletes. Now, the Department of Education, which may not even exist in a year or be totally revamped, future payments from a school to an athlete for NIL are classified as financial assistance. Now, what Ted Cruz, who's the chairman of the Commerce Committee, had a lot of things to say about this. Basically, and here's a quote from him. This is a great idea if Joe Biden is intended to kill both men's and women's college sports. Mandating so-called equal pay when not, get this now, when not all sports generate equal revenue, will force some colleges out of athletics altogether. Everyone wants to be paid like Michael Jordan, but that's not the way the world works.
No.
Now, here's his final quote from Cruz. I predict this scheme will die on January the 20th.
Okay. And boy, I think I would second everything he said. What about you?
Well, now, look, here's the reality of this. 75% football. Well, Terry, if they, instead of 75, that's what they've got now. If they went to 60, would that, it may not be the letter of the law, but it would be the spirit of the law and trying to come down with something until they can really be able to figure this out. What I think is going to happen here is, and tell me if this is reasonable, is that there will be some kind of compromise that is done here, not to ignore women's sports, but with the intent of keeping football, as we know. And look, football, let's be honest, football pays the bills. That ain't changing.
Absolutely.
By any stretch of the imagination. So could you see a school's response as, okay, we're going to, instead of 75, we're going to try 60%, and we're going in the spirit of the law, not the law. We're not attorneys. We're not saying we are, but would that buy some time? Maybe, Terry, to really figure this out?
It possibly could. Am I understanding it right? Speaking of the letter of the law, the letter of the Title IX law would be the monetary number has to be the same on both sides, men's side and women's. So if the men wanted to do 20 million as their salary cap, they'd have to pony up those schools 20 million on the women, or cut the men to 10 and 10. But it's got to be equal. And Brent, if the answer is okay, you're going to have to give 20 million on to the women's side, that's going to knock one positive I could see. That may speed up the super conferences, because if that happened, if you had to pony up $40 million of salary cap every year, the Southern Misses and East Carolinas are gone.
Yeah,
they can't
they
play.
Would be.
So
yes.
The one positive I see would be this may speed up the super conferences. The big boys can absorb that.
Yeah.
The smaller division ones can't. Now, another negative I see would be I mean, those, to be Division I, you have to have X amount of sports. I think it's 60.
You do.
You have to, well, I could see the Southern Misses of the world going, well, we can't stay Division I. We're going down to Division II. You don't have to have as many sports. So to help pay their bills, they're going to cut sports.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing Title IX wants, but that would be an economic answer. We're dropping down and we're getting rid of sports. And keep in mind, let me get one more thing in.
Yes.
Keep in mind the unintended consequences. That some Title IX's had a bunch of unintended consequences. I'm sitting here at BRIX with a bunch of TVs. There's men's volleyball. UCLA's taking on Penn State.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Men's volleyball, we'll just use the SEC. To get compliant, the SEC doesn't have, back in 1972, the SEC doesn't have men's volleyball. The SEC doesn't have men's soccer. The SEC dropped weightlifting.
Yeah.
Florida State University doesn't have women's gymnastics to try and so Title IX's great, but it has some unintended negative consequences.
Yeah.
Man, this is a sticky wicket, man. It really is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And look, I want to get into something you said about the super conferences. And this is not trying to get away from Title IX, but another part of this is I had this discussion a few minutes ago on a broadcast that you're seeing a lot of this talk in the media about the Big Ten having so much more money and being able to take over college football. And now I don't. This is a national media narrative. I don't buy into that by any means, totally.
Sure.
But to your point, and I think this is very important. If this continues, that piece of paper that Greg Sankey has in the top drawer about expansion, might that piece of paper come out sooner than we think it might? And to fight what's going on, could they add some schools before they really want to add some schools just to keep up with the money end of it?
From the money end, yeah. This is going to be interesting how this plays out. And when Pat and I were talking, he was explaining, like we're all aware on the women's side, nobody's anti-women here at all. But on the women's side, it's a money drain. They don't, there's a bunch of, and I'll be the first one to say there are a bunch of men's sports at the college level that lose money, but they have the power conferences have two big revenue makers, football and basketball.
Yeah.
The women's side doesn't have any money makers. It's all a drain. But so with that being on the table, how do you in common sense faith go, but that side deserves the same amount of money? It just doesn't make common sense, does it?
No. And that's why it's probably not going to last. And again, look, now without being political here, I mean, we both know enough about what the incoming regime is talked about doing with the Department of Education.
Yeah.
And where is that going to go in this? And where I think probably what the Trump people would do is I think they will have some kind of, let's table this and we're not getting rid of it, but let's table this until we get our people in here and work on this. They've got some pretty smart people that very well could come out with something that's a little more fair and equitable for everybody involved. Now to your point, now some of these sports, gymnastics at Florida, softball at Florida. Now
maybe break even.
Yeah, probably. But across the board, that's what you're not seeing. And as people have said for years, Terry, you can't kill the golden goose.
Yeah.
And end up with your financial situation much worse than it was to begin with.
You also wonder, and this is an off-season topic, but I'll bring it up. We won't dive into it. I could see a day when the student part is eliminated.
Yeah.
And you say, well, wait a minute, then why would colleges? Well, colleges would want to be involved in sports, football, basketball, because it's a great ROI.
That's right.
Go find some. So I could see down the road, if the student part is eliminated, the colleges are basically the owners, the franchise owners. Florida is basically the Jerry Jones, and Georgia is the Hess family, right? They're just the owners of these sports teams, because colleges, they have their money and they seek to invest it to make more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Colleges have endowments and they want to make more. They want their money to make money. College, the football is a great money maker for these colleges. And Brent, if you get rid of the student part, you get rid of the Title IX issue.
Yeah. Well.
Title IX's gone.
Let me tell you what an astute observation that is, because I've seen more and more of that. And what I've seen is you've got where we may be headed with this is some of these athletic departments may actually on the periphery keep a relationship with the school in order to have the name, in order to have the some of the equipment and so forth, but they actually may move off campus and have their training facilities and somewhere down the road away, and keep a loose connect. This is what I'm hearing, okay? Keep a loose connection with the university.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you hearing the same thing that I am?
I'm not hearing that, but that's kind of what I've been saying about the university. The student part probably is going to go away, and the universities are just they're going to be the owners of sports teams that have a league that makes a lot of money, and colleges like to make money. Now, I see the student part going away.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't call it and at that point, we're not saying this is going to be a minor league of the NFL. We're not saying that. I mean, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked to see that 20 years down the road either.
Not at all. And Brent, another one of my crazy ideas, and I don't think so. Well, at what point do you just go to the NFL and say, we're going to pay you $1 billion, administer? By the way, the student part's gone. NFL manage our money making league.
Yeah.
And you have a vested interest in our money making league. We feed you. Run it for us, please. You know how to run. They don't. The NFL wouldn't have any interest because they don't have any interest in, and they don't know how to run student athlete angles.
Yeah.
But if it goes to where I think it's going to go, the student part is going to be gone. It's going to be gone.
Now,
the schools are going to sponsor a couple of athletic sports, and the money's still going to be there.
Yeah. Well, and see, what I saw this week, and you may have seen this too, is you got 85 to 105 guys on your team. Okay. What I have heard too is, Terry, not all these guys are involved with NIL deals. Some of these people are still, believe it or not, and people forget this, some of these players are still on scholarship.
Yeah.
And that is tied into the school. I don't know how that would go, but it's kind of funny how our mind works sometimes about both of us. Yeah. But that I heard more about that this week of having and the best way I can put it is a loose relationship with the university, but your practice and facilities may be off campus somewhere, and you've got some kind of an existing relationship that works out toward that way that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, the University of Florida sponsors
Yeah.
The Gators,
Yes.
the Gator team, the team called the
Right.
Gators,
Right.
they're the owner. They're the Jerry
Yes.
Jones of the Gators.
Yeah. And they would, and they would still be called the Gators.
Sure.
And the fans will be in the stands rooting for the Gators.
Yes.
But you would just have a different agreement and a different relationship with the school than you ever had before.
I see that coming. The University of Georgia would be the Arthur Blank of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
They would be the owner of the Georgia Bulldog football
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
And they would be happy. There'd still be TV. Really, really interesting. Really interesting. Brent, I'm just gonna keep you through the top, and we'll get out of here. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
The Torian Green stuff. Certainly, we led our show off with that. The allegations on top of the allegations of the head coach Todd Golden. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't know who to cast aspersions at. There's investigation on both sides. Not a great look. Not a great look. Your head coach and one of your top assistants now in separate cases being accused of sexual assault.
Look, and I'm not saying they did it or they didn't do it, but the thing that just speaks volumes to me is the University of Florida has not removed these guys away from their present job.
Yeah.
So Terry, and again, and for our viewers, Terry and I get as tired of this legal stuff as you folks do. Yeah. But the reality is, Terry, like I do, Florida has to have some kind of, I don't know if assurance is what I want to say, but I think Florida has got to have some kind of an understanding that this is too much up in the air right now for them to fire both these guys, or they would have done it by now. Is that fair to say?
I would agree. I would agree. And, we talked about sticky wicket with the Title IX. And not what I'm going to bring up is not just sports, but any type of accusation like this, it's a sticky wicket because at some point it's he said, she said, she said, he said.
Yes.
For a while. There's got it for a while until some stuff is investigated. It's a tough call. It is a tough call, but it's a bad look. You can say what you want. And I feel Pat and I got talking a little bit about this angle too. The players on the team, they're resilient. But I asked Pat, with this piling on now, will this affect their performance? And he didn't think so. And I don't necessarily think performance, but what it will affect, you think the visiting road trip is going to be tough with the Todd Golden stuff? Well, now those fan bases, and I don't blame them, they're the visiting fan bases have a lot of ammunition. A lot of ammunition. They rolls into Athens and Tuscaloosa. It's going to be tough on those players.
Yeah. And Terry, by the way, if I may, we got go
ahead.
We've got kind of a text here from Chuck. Real quick on this. A lot of small schools will have to give up football. Well, that's what Terry's talking about.
Exactly.
Now, the 12-team playoff would pretty much be the same. Well, it's not going to be the same because it is going to either 14 or 16 in 2026. And my Lord, Terry, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
Now, and Chuck is mentioning it, and bowl games will go away. Look, I can tell you right now, bowl games will never go away. There is and I appreciate this this text here very much, and help me on this. But Terry, bowl games make too much money for cities. They make too much money for college football. There are cities who want bowl games right now, and what we may have happen is, and Terry and I have talked about this before, Chuck, is the possibility of the home games going away. Well, they got to have a place to play them, and what they're going to do is play them in bowl games. And one of those bowl games, Terry and I both hope, is going to be here in Jacksonville, Florida, the Gator Bowl.
With that new stadium. Getting back to the Title IX, kind of what Chuck was talking about, and the monetary distribution, and if it was equal on each side, and I'm not against women, man. I love women. I've got a daughter.
Yeah.
Sounds like sometimes we're against women, but if women's sports was granted the same amount, they have to have the same amount of revenue. You have to pony up $20 million for the women's salary as the men's salary now in college athletics moving forward. I mean, Brent, I'm trying to think of a way to explain it, and here's what I came up with. From the women's perspective, if that happens, those players literally hit the lottery without ever buying a ticket.
True.
I mean, can you imagine? They just walk into Title IX, stuffs money in their pocket, and the women's sports haven't done anything to earn it. And that sounds so harsh, Brent, but I don't mean it to be harsh. But isn't that true?
Well, look, again, this is what Ted Cruz said, mandating so-called equal pay when not all sports generate equal revenue will force some colleges out of athletics all the way together. So that I mean, and look, he's chairman of that committee. And Terry, to your point, frankly, I think that's what you're saying. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
it is, they deserve money, they deserve our support, but there is an issue here that they're not bringing in equal revenue. And Terry, that can't be ignored, can it?
And the word discrimination, I think sometimes doesn't get the word discrimination sometimes has to be used on both sides of the fence. Some people would say, well, that's discriminating the women if they don't get they don't get 20 million for their salary cap, women's sports. They get 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you just gave it to them willy-nilly, isn't that discrimination against the men's side to a degree? You're discriminating against them a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and Terry, if they did that, would there be an equal amount of lawsuits from the men's side trying to undo the thing that you did? So, so my cautionary tale here is to wait until the Trump administration gets in and see how they're going to deal with that. And I can tell you this, Cruz has said, and I've heard him say this, that this is not on the back burner. This is one of the number one agendas they've got to deal with in the coming year.
And frankly, it's a massive industry.
It is.
They're dealing with
no doubt.
You can't just say, oh, it's just sports. It's just college football. It is a massive, now hundreds of millions, if not billion. It's a $1 billion industry. There aren't a ton of $1 billion industries out there.
Well, and Terry, answer this question for me. We both know what it is. What is television whispering in their ear?
Absolutely. And it's got to be whispered because right now our culture, the head of ABC, CBS, and take the wokeness out for a minute, the head TV guy or woman, I don't think can really say what they would want to say. And that might be, gosh darn, we could, all this women's sports we have on now, we feel like we have to have on. We could get better ratings and more money with men in that slot, but we've got to acquiesce. They can't say that, but aren't they thinking that?
Terry, could this be the old phrase, you are shooting for, you're going to shoot for the moon to make the mountains?
Yeah.
Could this be basically, look, we want equal pay. We know we're probably not going to get it, but this may give it's like we said in the beginning, instead of 75% going to football, if 70 went to football, 65 or 60 went to football, and women got some of that, I mean, could that be part of what this is?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. You wonder if the female side pushes on this, like you were just using an analogy, man. They be careful. You may push and harm yourself more than you're helping yourself.
Yeah.
Pushing, man, a lot. And we only have a minute and a half, Brent. What you said, some people may not be aware. there's serious talk about the Department of Education being wiped out.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and governed on a basis by basis, state by state kind of thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In other words, the theory is that it performs a function, but there's so much waste in it that it needs to be restructured and redone to be a lot more fair and equitable to people than it is now. I think that's some of it.
Just don't screw up our game of college football, please.
Yeah, really.
Yes. People try all the time. Brent, good stuff, man. Enjoy a lot of. We didn't even have time to get into the playoffs. We got 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. A bunch of good college basketball. Have a great weekend. Appreciate all you do, Brent, and we'll talk on Monday.
Good. We'll look forward to that before the national championship game.
How about that? We'll preview that bad boy on Monday. It is finally here, Monday. Good Lord, too much time in between games. He is Brent Beard. Thank you so very much, folks, for following us today on the show. We hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed bringing it to you. For Brent Beard, of course, Patrick Young, and Ben driving the ship for the first time solo. I'm Terry Norvelle, wishing you a great rest of your Friday and have a fun, safe weekend. We'll do it again Monday at 4 o'clock. The Young and Norvelle Show right here on Action Sports JAX. Good night, everybody.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. BRIX JAX Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at BRIX JAX Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at BRIX JAX Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports JAX to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News JAX in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports JAX 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports JAX 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from.
My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.